If you think that the aging process is just genetics and that's it, then you're a victim of marketing in the US. They'll definitely sell you a jar, a dream that's supposed to fix everything in one go. But it might cost $300 to $400 and not fix a single thing. Today, I'll break down 3 myths that the anti-aging cosmetics industry in the US is built on. And I'll also go over the 3 main causes of skin aging so you can understand which types of products, which types of cosmetics can actually fix these issues. Because when you know what's broken and what you need to fix, you can actually fix it. The problem with marketing in the US is that no one explains to you why you have a certain type of aging or why it shows up on your face in a particular way. What this issue is called, just so you can Google it. I want to find products that fix this kind of problem, but we can't, because we don't understand where wrinkles come from, where dryness comes from, why the facial contour starts to sag, when the youthful angles disappear, when the eye sockets become sunken, when venous rings appear, when pigmentation and unevenness show up, and so on. Today we're going to sort all this out. Today we'll be very honest, scientific, and most importantly, I'll explain how to address these issues with home care, things that absolutely everyone can afford. As usual, I've made some notes for myself. We have 3 myths. The first myth on the US market is genetics, that nothing can be done, so you just use creams and watch yourself age, because without creams, you'd probably turn into a monkey much faster. That's why a number of cosmetic products for older women, they usually don't promise anything at all. Let me remind you, I'm 36 years old. I'm not considered older yet, but I'm not 23 either. And I believe that my skin looks significantly better now than it did 10 years ago. Photo. Now, I regret that I have so few photos from that period because I didn't like how I looked and didn't take pictures of myself. And now I really need them. But I have so few. When you don't like yourself, you just don't take pictures. And then, when you suddenly become young and beautiful, you want all those photos, but there are practically none. So, the first myth, the genetics myth. The debunking is that genetics only sets the background. That is, yes, it's true. Some women may age a little faster, some a little slower, but overall, the aging processes are the same for everyone. And it's just a dysfunction. In other words, 70 to 80% of the actual aging you see on your face is mostly due to external factors and to functional breakdowns in the skin. It's like with a car. You're driving and your brake pads start to work poorly. So you can either lament that your car is aging and falling apart, or you can find out that the problem is specifically with the brake pads, go and replace them. Do you see what I mean? That's the main idea of this video. So make sure to watch it until the end. And if there's anything you still don't understand, ask me in the comments so you can figure it out once and for all. Myth number 2. An expensive cream is the best anti-aging cream you can find. That's not true at all. Good peptide creams, which are actually the most effective in terms of anti-aging cosmetics, really are expensive. But I also know a huge number of creams that are even more expensive, yet have the emptiest formulas I've ever seen. But cheap cosmetics aren't effective either. So we can't say that price always equals quality. We need to understand the mechanism. Because, for example, the main ingredient in an anti-aging cream might be retinol. Does it work for rejuvenation? It does work. Will you peel like a snake? You definitely will, 100%. Is that compatible with normal life? So is it okay to walk around all winter with peeling skin on your face? And then show off all summer looking beautiful? Well, probably not everyone likes that. There could be another anti-aging cream that's basically just a collection of vitamins that don't penetrate into the deeper layers of the skin and only create a temporary effect. While you're using it, you look good. As soon as you stop, your skin starts to look dry, uneven, and so on. So it's like a foundation. It doesn't work on the deeper layers of the skin. Absolutely zero effect for rejuvenation. Well, this one here. A quick effect, okay? Or for example, it could be a cream based on peptides, which work super effectively on the deeper layers of the skin, but you'll only see real results in 3 to 4 to 6 months because they work on the deepest dermis, and it only comes to the surface after 3 to 6 months. You'll start to notice some effects. Most women who aren't knowledgeable about cosmetics will stop using it. They'll give up effective skincare in favor of foundation, which covers everything up right away and makes you look beautiful. Or any other cream that gives you a quick effect but doesn't actually rejuvenate anything. Okay? Is that clear? Let's go. The mechanics of aging. What are the mechanics of aging? First, it's cell renewal, the speed of the cycle. In other words, when your cells don't renew at the same rate they did when you were 25. I think no one has any questions about that. Here's the first statistic. At age 20, the skin layer renews itself in about 28 days. After 30, it starts taking longer and longer and longer. So for example, let's say if retinol or peptides work in the deep dermis, you need 6 skin renewal cycles. If you're 20, it takes 6 months for your skin to fully renew and come to the surface. A little less, about 5.5. But if, for example, we take a woman who is 60, her renewal cycle isn't 30 days. For her, it might take a year and 2 or 3 months for her skin to fully renew, or even up to a year and a half. Do you understand? If you don't stimulate this process, that's why you end up with gradually aging skin. Okay? The second reason for aging is the matrix. The matrix is the framework of the skin. It's very simple. What is the matrix? It's a rather unclear word. What is it made of? It is made up of collagen, which provides structure. Next, it consists of elastin, which restores your shape, because without these threads, you can't lift the corners. Without threads, my cheekbones are now better than they were when I was 16, because now they really exist. And there are no fillers, no threads, nothing here. That's the work of elastin, because it's what brings the shape back. When you work with elastin, your face is tightened according to the structure of your own face as much as possible. So, it can be assumed that if you really manage to control this decline in elastin production well, and you compensate for this drop, making your skin produce elastin, then you might not need a facelift at all. Basically, logically speaking, yes, because you're compensating for the problem that's increasing, and that's why people age. Okay? That's clear. Next is hyaluronic acid. That's water. And that's volume, meaning the skin's hydration, skin density, skin velvetiness, that feeling that it's not dry, that it's really dense, right? And volume, meaning it's not just the fat tissue that gives you cheekbones or those youthful cheeks that everyone misses as they age. If the skin is hydrated not just on the surface, but from the dermis to, well, if the whole skin layer is hydrated, then basically your facial volume doesn't disappear as much with age as it usually seems. The third factor that determines whether your skin will look youthful or aged is the barrier. The lipids of the stratum corneum. This is the skin's lipid barrier. That is, it's not actually part of the skin. These are little fatty particles found on the tiny hairs which protect the skin from dehydration. And if this barrier is thin, first of all, it simply decreases with age. And secondly, very lazy women just wash it off with regular soap or any cheap cleansing products from ordinary stores, not specialized cosmetic ones. In other words, they instantly destroy this barrier. When water leaves the skin, it thins out, and basically your whole skin package starts to compress, dry out, and stops being what it should be. At that point, collagen and elastin are no longer produced, and all those fibers become very brittle. And if you sleep the wrong way and wake up with a crease here, you know what I mean? Everything shows up on your face. This is the lipid barrier, because if it's damaged, water escapes. Second, inflammation, sensitivity, redness, and even rosacea are all due to problems with the lipid barrier. Basically, your skin will be even, so you won't need to use foundation. I don't use foundation at all. In my videos about cosmetics, I try to wear almost no makeup. I always have a little blush, a bit of lip gloss, and a touch of mascara on, simply because I'm as pale as a moth. My own skin is really very white, like porcelain. I don't use foundation. But 10 years ago, I couldn't leave the house without foundation because my skin tone was always uneven, I had breakouts, and my T-zone was very oily. Here, my cheeks were dry and constantly peeling from water and from washing my face with soap. I was young, you know. Moving on. Now, let's look at what we're fixing and what we're using to fix it. Which mechanism is damaged, which product will fix it, and why it works. The first function is to activate skin renewal. The mechanism is to send a signal to the skin, a signal to divide cells correctly, in the right amount, and in the right pattern, just like young skin does. The product that will work for this, let me show you, is Limux EGF. DNA serum. Why will it work so effectively? EGF, or epidermal growth factor, makes cells divide in the optimal quantity and at the correct healthy speed so that it precisely matches the vibrant settings of a young, healthy organism. Concurrently, the advanced DNA complex provides crucial support for accurate cellular replication and actively works to significantly reduce any defects in both skin tone and its intricate structural integrity. Consequently, the various errors in skin structure formation, which regrettably begin to manifest with the inevitable onset of aging, will be thoroughly and effectively corrected by the powerful DNA complex. This comprehensive correction ensures that the newly regenerated skin that ultimately comes to the surface appears remarkably smooth, visibly rejuvenated, and entirely free from the appearance of bothersome crow's feet and other fine lines. So this explains why, for example, you see a lot of videos online now about different cosmetics. Sometimes it's just a marketing ploy, and sometimes it's a real result. For example, you might have a bunch of crow's feet here, slightly drooping eyelids, sunken eyes here, and dark circles under your eyes because the skin is thin in that area. And you think, well, it can't be reversed anymore. But actually, even things that seem like only surgery could help, yes, they really can be reversed. Because all of this skin, every single cell, will completely renew itself in about 6 months at most, or if you're older, maybe in 7 or 8 months. If you consistently use EGF DNA on this area of your face during that period, the structure that your skin will build will be correct and match that of a youthful face. And the speed of cell regeneration and division will also match that of youthful skin, you see? And as a result, you will truly get an eye where the upper eyelid is lifted, the sagging here will be tightened with skin, and the bluish tint will disappear. Because that bluish tint is simply blood vessels, you can see. The thinner the skin, the more visible the blue. For some people, the skin here is naturally so thin that it needs to be thickened, almost artificially, also using the same peptides, and the wrinkles here will disappear. This is absolutely real, it's not a miracle. The reason I'm explaining this in such detail is because I really hope that these are the kinds of videos missing on the internet so that women can simply understand, because if you use something and don't understand how it works, you'll quit. And this works in the long run. So it turns out that in 100% of cases, women won't continue using effective cosmetics. And they'll keep chasing after those wow effects that seem to help them right now. But in the long run, they'll age at a crazy speed. Do you see what kind of marketing trap this is? The second function we need to address: stimulating the synthesis of collagen and elastin. Because it's exactly this function, when it suffers, that makes us look older. The mechanism is to activate fibroblasts and the synthesis of the matrix. The matrix, let me remind you, is a mixed structure that makes up the skin. It includes elastins, collagens, and hyaluronic acid. And fibroblasts are those things that float around in the intercellular space and build cells. This remarkable product, known as Lamax TGF Booster, performs a distinctly different and incredibly vital function within your body. It acts as the crucial orchestrator, much like a highly skilled general contractor overseeing a complex construction project. This main builder meticulously directs and facilitates the intricate process of collagen synthesis directly within your own tissues. In simpler, more direct terms, it actively stimulates and empowers your skin to naturally produce a significantly greater amount of its own essential collagen, leading to improved elasticity and firmness. It regulates the remodeling of these collagens. For example, if you already have age-related changes associated with collagen production, there is both the quantity of production and the quality. And when the quality suffers, we see that the face with wrinkles becomes visible, for instance. We start to notice some unevenness in the skin somewhere. So, TGF not only stimulates collagen to be produced in greater amounts and in a natural way, but it also corrects errors in the initiation of this production process when it is just beginning to form. So what can we expect to get? A dense dermis, meaning the entire skin layer becomes firm and it stops being stuck together and dry. It separates, becomes hydrated, and really tightens up as a whole. The facial contour is actually lifted, so it's absolutely possible to avoid or at least postpone the use of threads. So even women who are 52 to 55 and were considering a facelift, of course, you don't end up with a face where, your eyes are pulled back to your ears. But before getting a facelift, they used peptides, just stuck with it for a year, and got such a lifted result that basically they don't want to get a facelift anytime soon. Well, because there's simply no need. Sure, they don't look 18, but they look 33, 35. They look great. And before that, they really did have sagging and a tired-looking face. Function 3, which breaks down, and because of this we see aging. Let's break down the mechanism, meaning what exactly is the mechanism, how does this function work, how do we fix it, and what result do we get? The proper pH mechanism is the dermal sponge that maintains the volume of the face, because fillers, for the most part, are hyaluronic acid, which retains water in certain areas of the face, and that's how we increase volume. If we look at the fact that, first of all, our skin has its own mechanisms, and the skin dries out and becomes compacted. So, for example, a woman who goes to a cosmetologist and gets fillers but washes her face with a regular cleanser from the household chemicals section, well, she is compressing and drying out her own dermis so much that she'll have to inject an enormous amount of fillers just to somehow increase the volume. But you can absolutely do without artificial fillers and instead truly nourish your skin, taking proper and consistent care of it so that your own natural water volume forms and develops, which then gives you those beautifully defined cheekbones and full, healthy cheeks. This way, you won't need to try to make your skin artificially denser, and even some noticeable depressions and fine lines in the skin will be naturally compensated for and improved. Here is a very interesting product. It's an auxiliary one, not the main one. This is isocell. It's not a toner, it's not a mist, it's cellular water. In other words, this cellular water helps you, first of all, to moisturize your entire skin layer after washing so that it really expands and absorbs the right kind of moisture, because this liquid matches the structure of the intercellular fluid in your face. And it acts as a superconductor, delivering these main components and growth factors deep into the skin. As expected, first of all, you'll immediately get a quick glow effect, which everyone likes, right? But most importantly, its main function isn't just the instant wow effect, but rather the delivery of the main components and growth factors to the deeper layers of the skin. And then its function is to protect the barrier and lock in the effect. It works by restoring the lipids in the stratum corneum and retaining moisture. That's what this little thing does. This is exactly our little spray from SL. And the main cream plus the eye cream, which increases this lipid layer. It's precisely this that creates protection for the face. It provides protection against dehydration. It makes the face completely even and gives that Photoshop-like effect. In short, all the products I've listed in the order I discussed them today, I'll definitely leave in the description below, right under this video. Go ahead, buy them using the link and start using them. I hope that today I've given you enough information so that you understand how this works in the long run, feel confident that you're not wasting your money, and truly see a significant shift toward a more youthful face. This isn't just a matter of hope. When you buy some cosmetics, it shouldn't be a mystery to you whether it will work or not, whether the magic pill will work or not. You should know exactly how it works. And I hope that in this video I was able to help you with that, even if just a little. I ask you to write in the comments what facial issues you would like to solve. Describe them as you see them, describe what you don't like, so that I can determine which function is most likely impaired. To explain in even more detail how this works and what types of cosmetics, in a broader sense, can help you with this so you have more options. And I assure you, after 2 to 3 months of watching these kinds of videos, you'll have a basic understanding, and that will be enough for you to be competent and to keep your facial situation under control. Subscribe to my channel, give it a like, I would really appreciate it. See you in the next videos.